بسم الله بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله فاللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وللسامعين ولجميع المسلمين أجمعين. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal, the Almighty, to make this gathering a beneficial one and to make it from those gatherings that will benefit us Yawm al-Qiyamah, the day in which we will stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jal, Jalla Jalaluh. And of course we know that without a doubt any gathering in which Allah's name is mentioned is a gathering, inshaAllah, that is a beneficial, blessed gathering. And any gathering where Allah's name, Jalla Jalaluh, is not mentioned, then it is not a gathering that is of benefit, and one shouldn't indulge in such gatherings. So we ask Allah Azza to make it sincere for His sake, Jalla Jalaluh. And of course last week was a topic of who is a righteous husband, and we touched upon that which Allah Azza wa Jal made it easy for us. And we spoke about that topic because I personally saw it of benefit to talk about that topic first, who is a righteous husband, because الرجال قوامون على النساء, that of course without a doubt a man is the head or the pillar of that household. So if he is upon something, then automatically that household will be upon that which the man is upon. And this is obviously most of the times, most cases. فالله عز وجل يقول في محكم تنزيله ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. And of course this we know is, or it should be, the main reason that makes us understand that Allah Azza wa Jal, Jalla Jalaluh, has created us different spouses from ourselves, meaning from Adam alayhi salam. So Allah Azza wa Jal has created us male and female. Why? For us to come together and live a life in that which we're able to have offsprings and to live a life, as without a doubt we know that which the scholars have mentioned, that any community, except of course if it's not a community of the Muslims, because some communities they don't see to it that a man and a woman makes that community. But within Islam, within the Sharia of Islam, we know that that which makes a mujtama', that which makes a community, is a wife and a husband, meaning them coming together and having offsprings. And from that, of course, without a doubt, they are able to make a community a halal community. So this, of course, without a doubt, we know, كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم تزوجوا فإني أتزوج النساء, marry, because verily I marry women and I get married. So us having known this, and we know that, and we should know that marriage is an act of ibadah. Marriage is an act of ibadah, so we shouldn't take it something lightly. We shouldn't take it as something, as many people think, it's just for us to fulfill our desires. This is of course one of the reasons to save you from haram, but it is not the main reason or that which will keep a marriage going. So, like I mentioned, that it is very important for us to realize and to know that many of us, or many people, focus on what makes a wife righteous, what makes a wife righteous, and they forget about what makes a husband righteous. Because we have to understand, ikhwani, if you're living in a household and you have certain goals and certain things that are important to you, then automatically, in most cases, 9 out of 10 times, or we could even say 10 out of 10 times, your spouse will be upon what you're upon. So if you're righteous and you seek to head to, you seek Jannah and you seek the Akhirah, then your wife will have the same thing, and she'll have the same visions. And if you try to raise your children and you have a certain way that you are upon, then also your children will follow you. So that's why I see that it is important for the man that wishes to get married to a righteous wife, that he himself tries to become righteous before he even seeks marriage, before he even puts himself forward. Are you ready yourself to be someone that takes you as an example? That's how you should see yourself. Not just because of the fact that we should live together. Of course, these are all important things. Okay, you want someone to be a certain way, meaning you wish to marry a certain wife, a certain woman to live with. Okay, but do you see yourself befitting for someone to take as a role model? Because your wife, without a doubt, should take you as a role model, meaning follow you in that which Allah Azza wa Jalla has commanded to do so, in halal. Okay, take you an example. You wake up to pray Salat al-Fajr, she wakes up as well. You strive to read the Quran, you strive to learn the Quran, memorize it, she will try to do so herself. You are good to your parents, she'll try to be even better. So you compete with one another. As Allah mentions in the Quran of those that are devoutly worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal and obedient, those that fast and those that pray and those that give charity together, meaning husband and wife. So if you're upon a certain characteristic, a certain way, then your wife should also, or she should, or she will follow that way that you're upon. And if you're someone, and as you find this many times, maybe people may find it, may not believe it or what have you, but this is the truth and it's the sad reality. Maybe you see that a person is a way where he gets married and all his main concern is watching TV and playing consoles and watching football. She will generally automatically see to it that she does the same thing upon that which interests her. So you have to be upon a certain way. Are you ready for someone to take you as a role model? Because it starts with the wife. And why I say the husband is very important, because if you're upon a certain way and upon a certain manner and you have a certain timetable where you worship Allah Azza wa Jal, and not just in worship but in your day-to-day life, in your dealings and the way you handle things and the way you deal with one another and other people and interactions, then your wife also will try to be the same. So now why is it important, Ikhwani? That's the question. Why is it important? For you to set from day one, you try to be righteous, then inshallah you think, and of course we shouldn't think highly of ourselves, but you think you're ready. You think you've tried the utmost best to learn and to better yourself, and now you're ready to put yourself forward for marriage. Because it's a big thing. And why I'm asking the question, because it's a big thing. Many of us just put ourselves forward. But if someone actually was to come and sit down with us or to know us, then they would advise us otherwise, that we're not ready for marriage. So that's why you should know first, ask yourself, are you actually ready for that which you're putting yourself forward? Why? Because it's not something light. It's not something that's an easy thing. The things that you may hear about or you know about, that which is obvious, that's just a part of it. A minute, small part of it. But that which it entails, marriage in itself, is something great. It's a madrasa, it's like a school. It's a school, it's not something easy. It comes with great responsibilities. So if you've seen that you're ready for this specific part of your life, what do you think, or why do you think it is important? Does anybody know?
Marriage is important.
Well, no, let's say for example you put yourself forward and you're going to marry a sister. Why is it important that you have a certain way of good conduct, or you have good characteristics, that you try to be righteous? Why is it important? Jazakallah khair, Fathallah alayka akhi. May Allah Azza wa Jalla preserve you. For that reason specifically, because marriage we should see beyond the obvious. We should see beyond the what? The box. That meaning, in the beginning you get married, you and your wife, but then what comes afterwards? Offsprings, your children. Now, if you are a certain way, and your wife tries to follow you as well, now you live together in peace and harmony upon the Quran and Sunnah, and upon a certain way of life, with that which the Quran and Sunnah commands us to be, of course, without a doubt, your children will follow. And not just that, to add to that which the brother answered, not just because of your kids, but let's say now you're in the absence of your family, your household. Your wife would know how to deal with your children, how to raise them, how to be righteous and to make them righteous. Because we have to understand, Ikhwani, whether one understands it or not, but who actually brings up that child? Who is mostly with that child? Even if the husband is working in the house, even if he's working from home, who's actually raising that child, doing the most part? Imam Shafi, Imam Malik, one of the ulama from them, if I'm not mistaken, Imam Ahmed, his mother used to send him to sit in the halaqat of his teacher, make him wear the amama, and go and send him. So without a doubt, we know that what? It's the mother. It is the mother. So if the beginning part is fixed, meaning the husband is righteous, then of course without a doubt that which will come about will be only but khair, nothing but khair. Okay, nothing but khair. So for our topic today, which is who is a righteous wife, يقول الله تبارك وتعالى في محكم تنزيله فالصالحات قانتات حافظات للغيب بما حفظ الله. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentions in the Quran, فالصالحات, and this is the description of a righteous woman. Okay? Therefore, the righteous women are devoutly obedient to Allah Azza wa Jalla and their husbands, and guard in their husband's absence what Allah Azza wa Jal orders them to guard, i.e. their chastity, without a doubt. they save and protect themselves and abstain from haram, from evil, and their husbands' property and other things. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is describing, and this literally in a nutshell is the description of that which Allah Azza wa Jalla has described. فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ حافظات للغيب بما حفظ الله. وقال ابن عباس وغير واحد في قوله تعالى. Ibn Abbas mentions in Tafsir ibn Kathir explaining this verse, في قوله تعالى, in the verse where Allah mentions قانتات, يعني مطيعات لأزواجهن, مطيعات لأزواجهن, meaning that in this verse the specific word قانتان, فالصالحات قانتات, meaning devoutly obedient. Ibn Abbas says meaning they are obedient to their husbands. So this is one of the first things, one of the first characteristics that a woman should try to make sure she sees of high importance, that she obeys her husband. Of course in halal, in that which Allah Azza wa Jalla has commanded and His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he mentions, says حافظات للغيب. So when Allah mentions حافظات للغيب, قال السدي رحمه الله وغيره, أي تحفظ زوجها في غيبته في نفسها وماله. So meaning, Siddi rahimahullah, he mentions, and others, that meaning she protects her husband in his absence. When he's not there, she protects her husband. And also, without a doubt, his property, meaning his wealth, and all that which he possesses and he owns. And this is something very important, and we should know that we should all be aware of, and this is the message to the sisters, that protecting your husband's honor in their presence is important, without a doubt. But in their absence is of more importance. So it is much more important for you to be from those that protects their husbands upon truth, without a doubt, and protect their honor if they're mentioned in bad or in evil, or someone mentions them in something that which is not correct. Then you protect them and you defend them in front of your parents, as you find many times. And this is something which is common. Many sisters, they speak about their husbands in their absence to their friends, to their family members, to their parents. And this is of course not allowed, because this is someone that is not a righteous wife. Because one that is righteous would not do such a thing. Why? Because it's mentioned here, حافظات للغيب بما حفظ الله. And of course, without a doubt, protecting your husband's honor is something that is of high importance, if Allah Azza wa Jalla stated it in the Quran. And of course, without a doubt, we should know, but this does not mean that if your husband is upon falsehood, if your husband is wrong in something, upon falsehood, upon evil, upon haram, then there's no need for you to protect him, but rather you should advise him. Meaning you protect someone upon truth, but your husband, you advise him. And of course, you keep his honor. If someone mentions something about him, then you protect him. And this is how each and every sister should be. Because Allah Azza wa Jalla states in the Noble Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. So if your husband, and this is from the characteristics of a righteous wife, is that if your husband, and you know your husband to be upon something which is falsehood, then it is upon you and it is incumbent upon you to advise him in secret when you're alone. That will make you from those that are righteous. Because why? Because you care for your husband. The one that advises you is the one that loves you. And this is a known principle to everyone, Muslims and non-Muslims. So we should know this. Because why? يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. You should state the truth if you want to be from those that believe, and to be from those that speak the truth. So then it carries on in Tafsir ibn Kathir, it says, بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهِ, meaning the verse when Allah mentions بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهِ. So we're still explaining the ayah. فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ. We've explained that. بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهِ, أي المحفوظ من حفظه, meaning you protect him and you preserve him in all sorts of ways. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال, أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, خير النساء امرأة إذا نظرت إليها سرتك. إذا نظرت إليها سرتك, meaning the Prophet ﷺ says the best of women, or the best of women are, or is a woman, meaning singular, that if you look towards her, she pleases you, she makes you happy. وَإِذَا أَمَرْتَهَا أَطَاعَتْكَ, and if you inform her to do something or order her to do something, then she obeys you in that which you have commanded her to do, or that which you have told her to do or asked her to do. You request your wife to do something, then she obeys you, of course in something that which is khayr. But just to make clarification, as many men that have small intellect, they misinterpret so many hadith regarding the rights that they have over their wives. And from them is this hadith and many other hadith, that they say that I have told you to do such a thing, that you should do so. Ikhwani, we should be kind to our household, everyone within our household. So before we even get married, everyone. When we get married, it's even much more important for you to be kind to your wives. Why? Because they have been created from a dili', a rib cage. And that part, of course, is crooked. كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, that if you leave it, it will remain crooked. If you try to straighten it, then what? You will break it. So verily, فَاسْتَوْصُوا بِالنِّسَاءِ, be kind to your women. And of course, it doesn't mean that you act towards her كَالسُلْطَوِيَّة, meaning you're like you're like a general in some sort of military. She's not, and this is many men that they have this sort of mindset that my wife is like a khadima, she's like a house girl. No, she's your wife, that you should live together in peace and harmony, in justice. So of course, without a doubt, it is okay for you as a husband to request her to do something, but it doesn't mean you oppress her in her rights. So this hadith is saying, وَإِذَا أَمَرْتَهَا أَطَاعَتْكَ. And a small example, for example, if you kindly requested your wife to iron something from that which you're going to wear to work. It's just a simple example. Okay, and she has nothing, meaning she has no other things that she is going to do. Just giving you an example, let's say you have kids and you have 4 kids, 3 kids. Maybe she has things that she will do it later, and you ask her to do something nicely, in a nice way. Okay, and it doesn't mean because you speak nice to your wife, it doesn't mean it makes you less of a man. Ya ikhwani, many people think because you speak nice to your wife, it makes you less of a man. It doesn't mean you have to be like an asad, like a lion or like a tiger, in order for you to show your manhood. From your manhood is to be nice and kind. كما كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, as the Prophet ﷺ used to be with his wives. So, you've asked her to do something, and she obeys you, and she listens to you, and she does so. This is from the examples, and there's so many other examples. Okay, so this is what this hadith is talking about. وَإِذَا غِبْتَ عَنْهَا حَفِظَتْكَ فِي نَفْسِهَا وَمَالِكَ. ثم قرأ رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الآية الرجال قوامون على النساء. And meaning that if you're absent, for example, you've gone to travel, then she protects and she preserves your honor and also your wealth and your property. And this is a righteous wife, and this is a righteous woman, and this is how each and every single sister should try to be like. She should try to be like. But once again, ikhwan, we have to make sure we have understanding of a hadith. It doesn't mean because of the fact that you ask her to do something or what have you, just as you have rights over her, she also has rights over you. And this is the only way for a household to have success and for it to prosper. And we have to understand the principle in marriage generally, because of 2 different genders are living together, meaning a male and a female, complete different mindset, complete different upbringing, complete different feelings, emotions. Women are different to men. Okay, so you have to understand that for it to succeed in a discussion, let's say for example you both discuss something that you want to do, one has to what? Easygoing than the other. One has to be easygoing than the other. And this is how generally it goes in each and every single matter. It doesn't matter what it could be. A trip, you decide to go for a holiday, or you decide to go somewhere. One of you says we should go on this day or this month because of this and this and this. The other one says otherwise. So there should always be mutual agreement, but there's always going to be one that should be easygoing towards the other. And this, of course, without a doubt, you know when you're together with your spouse, who is the one that's easygoing, who is the one that is not. كما قال Ibn Baz rahimahullah, as Shaykh Ibn Baz mentioned, explaining, advising those that seek not to get married and those that want to get married. He says, for one that seeks to get married, then they should know that there will be ups and downs in your marriage. There will be ups and downs in your marriage. It's not going to be the highway or fairy tale, which many sisters believe today. It's going to be a fairy tale. I'm going to get married, mashallah. I'm going to have an akhi. It's going to be nice and what have you. This is something maybe they hear from their friends that just got married a couple of months ago, a year ago, a couple of years ago. You're going to go on a honeymoon or whatever have you. Things that people indulge in as well that makes no sense, but they think that this is it. You get married. He's going to buy you jewelry, he's going to spoil you, you're going to go to places, travel the world together, and do this and do that. Ya ukhti fillah, this is just probably the first couple of months. As they say that the first couple of months to a year and a half, pushing it, it's going to be what? La-di-da, it's going to be nice, it's going to be you getting to know your wife, her getting to know her husband. But then afterwards, it's when the real test comes in. What is keeping you both together? Why did you both get into that relationship? To get married. What was the reason? So of course we have to understand and know this, that marriage is not just that which we see or that which we hear. There's more to it. And inshallah we're going to get onto that. SubhanAllah, there's a point I wanted to mention about what Shaykh Ibn Baz mentioned, it's gone. Allah understand. Inshallah it's going to come back to me. But كما قال الله جل جلاله الرجال قوامون على النساء. So we know that there's a difference between both the man and the woman, meaning the husband and the wife. وكما قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من حديث عبد الرحمن بن عوف قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وكما قال إذا صلت المرأة خمسها وصامت شهرها وحفظت فرجها وأطاعت, and look at this, وأطاعت زوجها. So if a woman, upon that which Prophet ﷺ mentioned, if a woman prays her 5 daily prayers, that which is wajib upon her and each and every single Muslim, and fasts her month, meaning the month of Ramadan, and protects her private parts, meaning stays away from adultery and zina, وأطاعت زوجها, okay, and is obedient to her husband. So this is one of the conditions. Listen to the reward they will get. Listen to the reward you will get. يا أختي في الله قيل لها أدخل الجنة من أي أبواب الجنة شئت. أدخل الجنة من أي أبواب الجنة شئت. رواه أحمد. It will be said to her, and it will be said that enter paradise from any single gate that you wish to enter from. And this is her reward for her doing these things, praying 5 times a day, preserving her salawat, fasting the month of Ramadan, protecting herself from all evils and all types of zina and adultery and haram, and obeying her husband. So just that in itself shows you that obeying the husband is something that is important. It's something that is important. And of course, without a doubt, it will enable her to be from those that will be able to enter any gate that she wishes to enter from. And of course, this can be difficult because of course, and this is a reminder of course to all the sisters, that maybe your spouse, your husband can be difficult at times. Maybe it can be misunderstanding. He doesn't understand you. Doesn't give you time. Maybe he doesn't oppress you, but he doesn't give you time. He doesn't listen to you. So many other things. Maybe he has flaws in so many from different points of view that you see yourself in your eyes. But it's upon you to be patient. It's upon you to be patient. And of course, without a doubt, the reward is great. That if you please him for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal as your husband. And of course, it's the same thing as a message to the husbands. And this is one of the advice specifically, I remember Shaykh Muhsin Abbad, Hafidhullah, he mentioned, explaining the hadith in Sahih Muslim, فَاسْتَوْصُوا بِالنِّسَاءِ, be kind to your what? To your wives. To the woman, be kind to your woman. And the hadith was long, and he explained, he said that many men, sadly, they look towards all of the shortcomings that the wife may have. They look at the shortcomings that their wife may have, and they'll say, and they'll start complaining. Like, look, you didn't do this today, you didn't do that today. This last week, I told you about this, I told you about this. How many times am I going to tell you to do this? I told you about this, I told you about this. I'm sick and tired. It's getting annoying. It's too much. You're annoying me. It's too difficult to live with you. I'm putting up with so much. I've done this. I've sacrificed so much. I've left my family. I've left this. I've left this. I've moved house. I bought you this. The list goes on. And this is how men are. They always complain. Bani Adam will always complain. And as he's complaining about all these things, he's also, without a doubt, mentioning all what? All of it is negativity. He's all mentioning just the things that are deficient within his wife. But then the Shaykh, he advised and he said, each and every man, it is upon you to look at the good. And you would know without a doubt, and you realize that if she's someone that fears Allah Azza wa Jal, of course. If she's someone that fears Allah Azza wa Jal, then her good will be more and outweigh her shortcomings. And that which she is deficient in. So verily, if you do this, you look towards her good and you leave off and you brush over your shoulders her deficiencies and the things that she is weak in, then inshallah it will make you love her more. And it will make you overlook those things that she may have that maybe do not please you. And this is how we should be. And this is how it should be in a marriage. That you look beyond that which she has. And any single wife that fears Allah Azza wa Jal, from the natural state of a wife, is that of course she wants to please her husband, but maybe she may do things in her characteristic as a female that will make you unhappy as a male. But if she fears Allah Azza wa Jal, if it's not after an hour, a couple of minutes, maybe the next day, a couple of days, she'll always come and apologize to you. And this is from the characteristics of a righteous wife, to apologize. And same thing though, goes to the husband. If you've done something, it doesn't make you less of a man to apologize to your wife. This is from the rights, that if you've oppressed her in something, if you have accused her of doing something she didn't do, if you've maybe upset her, then it is upon you to what? To go and to apologize. Because at the end of the day, it shouldn't be a relationship that is a controlled, military type of relationship. Because then there is no happiness, there is no bliss, there is no joy. Do you want to be a husband that your wife wishes or can't wait until you get out? She gets raha. Rahatul nafs, rahatul bash. This is, alhamdulillah, kharaj minni ya Rab. Do you want to be like this? Where as soon as you leave, she says, and she utters, alhamdulillah, he's left my presence. Now I can breathe, I can get some fresh air. This is not the way the relationship should be between a what? A wife and a husband. Especially those that try to strive to be righteous. And vice versa. A sister should be to her husband like a soft pillow, where he comes back from home or from something, or from an outing, and he's stressed. His mind has got so many things on his mind. She's able just to suck in all and absorb all of that stress and take it away. And make him forget all of that which he's gone through. This is how a righteous wife should be. And this is something very important for us to remember. That a relationship, two-way relationship, not a one-way. So therefore we shouldn't be from those. And if you've been advised like that, then it is the wrong advice. Many people say that don't show her any mercy, don't show her any love, any affection. Ya ikhwani, this is wrong. This is completely wrong. From the poetry in the times before Islam, they used to write poetry, lines of poetry, romantic lines of poetry, just to show you that it's part of our religion. Because when Islam came, how were the Muslims? How was the Prophet ﷺ with his wives? How was he with his wives? And even the companions, the Khulafa al-Rashideen. With many of you know the story. The Prophet ﷺ will be marching to a battle. Ikhwan, listen to this. He'll be marching to a battle. And this hadith is in Muslim. As he's going to the battle, he will take Aisha radiallahu anha. He will take her. And of course, without a doubt, from his jealousy, he would make sure that she is not, of course, intermingling with the men. So she would have her own ride. And when she is there, he will sometimes say, تَقَدَّمُوا عَنِّي تَقَدَّمُوا عَنَّا. He will say, go ahead and carry on, to his companions. Go ahead and carry on. And carry on, I'll catch up to you. And then, as they've gone, and there's a distance between him and his wife and the companions. You have to remember, they're not going to have a cup of tea, they're going for what? Something serious. It could be a ghazwa, a battle, or a small one. And then he would raise his wife, Aisha radiallahu anha. And the hadith mentions that the first time he beat Aisha radiallahu anha, meaning in the early stages of their marriage. And then he did it again. He took her again. And there's many hadith mentions that he used to take his wives to things that were important. Meaning he was someone that was romantic. He was someone that was affectionate. He used to show love, mercy towards his wives. And the second time it said, and Aisha radiallahu anha was the one narrating the hadith, the second time says that I beat him because verily he was a bit older and he put on some weight, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So this is how one should be with his wife, ya ikhwani. It's not something that it takes that manhood out of you, or it lessens you as a man, or something low, to be romantic, to be creative with your wife in terms of buying her gifts and presents and what have you. And of course vice versa. If she has the capability, she should do the same. But ikhwani, you find today some men, and I'll say it straight, some men are, it's like they have nothing within them. They're dry. I'm talking about dry in terms of emotion, in terms of creativity. They have no romance. You have to know how to be with a wife, with a woman. In order for you to succeed, she has to also feel loved. And as a woman, and we know without a doubt, if you don't have kids, you'll know. If you have a daughter specifically, all they wish and long for is attention from their fathers. And of course, if they get married now, all their attention should come and they should long for it from their husbands. So you should show them attention. It's sad nowadays, Allah musta'an, al-asaf al-shadid, sadly that some husbands are there, it's like they pay no attention to their wives. They're busy with other things. If their friend will call them to go out for an outing or to go with them on a trip, they will go straight away. But with the wife, they spend no time with them. So how do you expect that relationship to grow, to become better? It's not against Islam to be romantic, to be creative, to be nice, to be kind, affectionate towards your wife. This is from Islam. And from many ahadith, some of the ulama, if you see, they've even authored books about this relationship and how to be man and woman. So this is from our deen. La haya fi din walillahi alhamd. But we should know, we should learn, we need to learn, we need to know. So that we're able to, especially nowadays, maybe 50 years from today, maybe our grandparents and our parents, alhamdulillah, you would rarely hear cases of divorce. But in our generation, this day and age, the worst I've heard is a man getting married and he stays with his wife for 3 days and he divorces her. Ya Ikhwani, for 3 days, you're putting yourself forward to a relationship. Where did it go wrong? But just once again, because it could have been lack of what? Knowledge. Not being patient. Not knowing how to deal with certain things. And this is something that is very, very important. We should all know that being in a relationship is not something... And also for the sisters as well. You have to be patient. Just like the brother has to be patient, your husband has to be patient, you as the wife also have to be patient. For the marriage to succeed. This is not something that you're walking in the park. You're going out for a couple of days, you're seeing each other and that's it. No, it's marriage. It's supposed to be something that you try to intend for it to be everlasting until death departs you, meaning until Allah Azza wa Jal takes one of your souls. For the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, to be from those that will be Yawm Qiyamah, from those that were known in the dunya to be متصدقين والمتصدقات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات والقائمين والقائمات والصائمين والصائمات. Like this, that you partake in what? In goodness, in birri والتقوى. So this is something that is very, very important. And of course, we'll mention some of the things that, the characteristics of how a wife should try to be, and how a sister should try to be. So from them is the story that we know when Musa alayhi salam was approached by the two females. Tamshi ala istihya, tamshi ala istihya. This specific characteristic, the ulama they mention, I strongly believe is one of the most important. Of course, we know the hadith will mention it, that which you should marry a woman, 4 things. But other than that hadith and other hadith, this is one of the things that I believe is one of the most important things. Al-haya, shyness. A woman without shyness, there is no benefit from her. A woman that does not have any shyness, there is no benefit. Because a normal, natural state of a woman, of a little girl, from day one, is shyness. So a woman that loses that shyness, loses everything. إِذَا لَمْ تَسْتَحْيِ. What's the end of the hadith? فَاصْنَعْ مَا شِئْتَ. If you don't have any shyness, then do as you please, do as you want. And of course, without a doubt, that is which the generations before us used to do. And Allah destroyed them. But, alhamdulillah, the deen of Islam, khuluq al-Islam, of course, is what? Shyness. Meaning the main characteristic of Islam, from the many, is shyness. And in this one here specifically, shyness, it brings about so many things. And we'll mention the hadith, and then we'll mention the reasons why it is a very important characteristic to have. Specifically, a sister should try her utmost best to be a shy sister. Al-haya khayru kullih, muttafaqun alayh. That all of shyness is good. All of shyness is good. But what thing is not good in shyness? When should a person not be shy? Min bab al-fa'idah, just as a benefit. To the truth, to the deen, meaning learning. Okay? The two people that don't benefit are the one that is shy and the one that is arrogant. Okay? But when we're talking about characteristics, general characteristics, then this is the first hadith. The second hadith, al-haya shu'batun min al-iman. We know that we know this hadith, the long hadith mentioned in Kitab al-Tawheed and so many other hadith, that we know that, and this is reported in Sahih Muslim, that from the branches of iman, of faith, is shyness. So it's a part of faith. And another long hadith, muttafaqun alayhi in Bukhari and Muslim, a long hadith, and the Prophet ﷺ came across a man admonishing his brother, meaning he was, admonishing his brother, and he was telling his brother off for being shy. And then the Prophet ﷺ says, دَعْهُ فَإِنَّ الْحَيَاءَ مِنَ الْإِيمَانِ. Prophet ﷺ said, leave him, because verily shyness is from
the branches of Iman. It is from Iman. And this hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. So why should you as a sister be shy? Because it completes you as a woman. This is something that should never be taken away from you. But what happens, how can it be affected? By the society you live in the environment, and those that you surround yourselves with. So a reminder to the sisters that your friends, your society, the society and the environment will have an effect on your shyness. Hence why it's very important to try utmost best to keep your shyness. Because this is from one of the main characteristics that a woman should possess. And a woman that doesn't have any shyness, like I mentioned, has lost a big part of their general natural state characteristics. It's not something that you can learn really, it's there. But of course, without a doubt, if someone had a life upon no shyness, meaning let's say they're a reaver, that's something different, they can learn it. But even someone that's not Muslim, it's not something just for the Muslims, no. Even a non-Muslim should have shyness. Meaning a female, that's how they are, that's their natural state. Okay, their natural state. So this is why something is very important for the sister. If you don't have shyness, then you should try utmost best to learn it. To try and be someone that is shy. And when someone is shy, they feel shy around the opposite sex, meaning the male. Okay? They feel shy around the males. They have that state of, they want to be just with their friends. Okay? They don't raise their voices around men. They have that decency, the modesty, where they feel themselves that there's no need for them to speak if it is not needed. Meaning to show, because you find some sisters sadly that they always want to be heard. Now this sister is not a sister. Why would you want to be heard around men? This is not from the characteristics of a Muslimah. A Muslimah should be shy. Just like also a brother should be shy upon certain things. When it comes to the deen, when it comes to being in front of your parents and your elders, you should be shy. So the same thing. But of course, without a doubt, we need to know and we need to understand that it is very important for a sister to have that state of shyness. And of course, without a doubt, shyness in itself is something that many of the Sahabiyat they had. Many of the Sahabiyat they had. And an example of this, and it shows you how much shyness they had, Aisha radiallahu anha, when the Prophet ﷺ was buried in her, because of course we know that he was buried in her house, that's where he died. So after, when Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu died, he was also buried next to the Prophet ﷺ in the same house. And then the hadith goes to mention كما قال الراوي وقالت عائشة, that meaning that at the time when the Prophet ﷺ died, when she would dress herself, of course, she would dress herself as normally. When her father died, she had that shyness and she would also dress herself. But when Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu died and he was buried also in that same place, she said that she stopped getting dressed within that place. Meaning, because of her state of shyness. Yes, Ikhwan, look at the high level of shyness. He is dead, he's not even there. But just because of the fact that she knows that he was buried there, this is the high level of shyness that she had. And this is how they were, radiallahu anhum ajma'een. The hadith mentions, كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, تنكح المرأة لأربع لدينها. So a woman is married for 4 things. One of them is for her religion. And this should be the main reason why you marry somebody, ikhwani. So from the characteristics of a righteous wife is that she has deen. Her deen is strong, she's firm in her religion. She is not someone that she moves with the wind. She doesn't give up in her deen because of certain things. She doesn't move. She's not shaken. And she is strong in her belief and in her religion. Whether she's by herself or with others. So this is something that is important for a man to know. So if you seek to get married to a sister, then you should check and find out how is her deen. How strong is her religion? How much does she fear Allah Azza wa Jal? Does she carry out the 5 daily prayers and all of the arkan of Islam? That's the first thing. The second one is وَلِحَسَبِهَا, meaning her state, okay, and her status. How is she with regards to her family, where she comes from? وَلِجَمَالِهَا, and this is the one, meaning her beauty. This is the third one. So the first one is the deen, her status, her family, her origin, her family status and what have you in her lineage, and وَلِجَمَالِهَا, meaning her beauty. And this is something, meaning the third one, where majority of the brothers see of the most importance. Of course, without a doubt, you need to get married to someone that you're attracted to. We don't disregard that. This is, of course, very, very important. You have to be attracted because, of course, that will keep you from indulging and partaking in haram. But is it the main thing? Is it something that you judge upon someone? Meaning, if she has that, and this is very important for us to understand, both for the male and for the females, for the sisters and for the brothers. Do you marry someone just because of looks and that's it, for hasib? So even if he's weak in his deen, or she's weak in her deen, she has no intent in practicing the deen of Islam, or fulfilling the commandments of Allah Azza wa Jal, and following the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you marry them anyway. This is from the means. And what does the hadith say? وَلِمَالِهَا, and also her wealth. One of the things, so this is the four things. فَانْظُرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ, so look towards her religion. تَرْبَتْ يَدَاكَ. This is where success will come from, without a doubt. And if it's not, if you don't choose from the deen mainly, if it's not the main thing, then verily dust should be thrown over your face. Because why? Because then you're not going to have any success. Because that which will keep you together, ya ikhwan, you have to understand. Of course, without a doubt, you have to be attracted to her. She has to be attracted to you, vice versa. However, the beauty is going to die down. Let's say you've been together now for 50 years. Of course, without a doubt, it's not going to be the same as when you first got married, both of you. In your state of what? Youth. You're going to be all wrinkly. She'll be all wrinkly. You'll be all wrinkly. This is how we are. This Allah, how Allah Azza wa Jalla has created us human beings. Our appearance will change. Maybe you have you start to walk all bent, crooked like a old man. She'll have the same thing as well. Maybe you lose your teeth. She'll lose her teeth. I'm telling you guys just to be completely plain black and white. Now, is the beauty keeping you together, or is it other things? For you to understand, this is just try to make you all understand. The beauty, of course, is very important. You have to be attracted to that sister. She has to be attracted to you. However, what's keeping you both together? What's going to keep both of you together? It's the deen, her characteristics, her morals, your goals, her goals. Very simple. This is what keeps a marriage going. This is what keeps a marriage going. Don't you see, with all of us, each and every one of us knows, all of those famous celebrities and what have you, how many of them have been in 1,000,001 relationships? If you in your eyes see that opposite, if you see in your eyes as a brother that they're married together, these famous couples, and they've got divorced and then they marry again, or even majority of them not even married, is beauty keeping them together? If we so-called, call them famous people, or they have some sort of beauty, which in reality all of that is just, caked on stuff. This is the sad reality, ikhwani, and this is something that you have to understand. You have to realize that it is important. But however, it's not what keeps a marriage going. If you're in a situation now, you've married, in your mind, you've married the utmost beautiful woman in your town. Let's just say, Nafrid. Okay, that's what we're going to say. Allah Azza wa Jal has blessed you with wealth. She's married you because of your wealth. Let's just say, for argument's sake. She's married you because of one thing. She just wants to be spoiled. She wants to have that money. You've married her because of her beauty. Now, 5 years down the line, you've lost your job. She's left it. She's legged it. Does that keep you together? She married you for one thing, you married her for one thing. You didn't marry her for the right reasons. She didn't marry you for the right reasons. Or another example, you think you married someone and you've chosen someone, and you believe, even though she's weak in so many things, in terms of deen, morals, characteristics, you've gone for the beauty. Okay, you've done that, that's your decision. Now, you're tested with something, and she's not strong. That's when regret will come, but then it's too late. Because if you had stuck with the hadith, فَانْظُرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ, like I said, we have to understand, the beauty is important. So is her status and where she comes from and what have you, whatever is important to you. Okay? But she has no shyness, she has no deen, she has no morals, she has no anything, no characteristics, she swears, she has a foul mouth, she doesn't look after herself and her household, she just cares about her beauty. Now, that marriage is not going to be successful. And same thing as well for the brothers as well, same thing. You have to have morals and you have to have certain things. For the sisters that we mentioned last week, that they should marry a brother that has deen, fears Allah Azza wa Jalla, is a man. has morals, is upon truthfulness, steadfastness, and this is how it should be. So this is something that is very, very important that people take lightly today. Like one righteous woman said to her daughter, and one of the Mashaykh mentioned it, said, and this righteous woman was advising her daughter, and she said, make sure you see to it that you are aware of what he looks towards, so that it will be only in goodness towards the way he looks at you. So this is advice. She's advising her daughter, meaning make sure when he looks at you he's pleased, and you do things that please him. Also be aware of what scents pleases him, what fragrances pleases him, so that he doesn't smell from you except beautiful smell and beautiful fragrance. And this advice, this is part of what the long advice she gave. And within this advice, I believe without a doubt, this applies also to the men. This applies also to the men. This applies also to the men. So we should be without a doubt from those that we have likes in terms of we look after ourselves, we look after our bodies. And also the same thing, because if you want your wife to look a certain way, to look beautiful for you, to make herself look beautiful, do her hair, have nice fragrance, you should also do the same thing. It goes both ways. It is a relationship, meaning two parties. So one wants something, one has to also put something to the table. And this is also very important, and people take lightly as well, that you should try your utmost best to look appealing towards your wife. And she should also try her utmost best to look appealing towards her husband, meaning her husband finds her looking beautiful. Why? Because it helps. What's the reason you're together? It helps. Ghaddun lil basar. It's going to help you lower your gaze, both of you. It's going to help both of you lower your gaze. But if you don't take time, oh dear sister, to look after yourself, if you don't take time to beautify yourself for your husband, then of course without a doubt, he will find it difficult for him to lower his gaze. And same thing as well for the husband. If you don't take time to look after yourself, then of course without a doubt, and this is something very, very important, people take it lightly, ikhwan. It's not important, it's not something taken lightly. Because the person you should see the most beautiful should be your wife. And same thing for her. She should see the person that's the most handsome is her husband. And this is something very important, so we should look after ourselves as Muslims. And nadhafa min al-iman, nadhafa of course without a doubt, is very, very important. Very, very, very important in the deen of Islam. A woman also without a doubt, who is righteous, should be patient. She should be patient, and she should be one that tries to please her husband. Of course, he will have many shortcomings, so when he has shortcomings, the way he may treat her, at times maybe he doesn't give her right. Doesn't give her right in a thing or two because of his ignorance or because of his misunderstanding of the situation. She should be patient, advise him. And of course, without a doubt also, he may get angry at things that maybe he asks you to do and you do not fulfill. But of course, without a doubt, you should be patient, advise him. And it's very, very important. What makes a relationship grow is communication, ikhwan. Communication is very, 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 very important in a relationship. You need to communicate. You need to both communicate. Something is hurting you. Something is bothering you in your heart. You feel discomfort towards your heart because of something that she has done. Don't keep it in. Don't bulk it in. This is what men do generally. Men have been created, and this is how, generally speaking, very few men you find that they are men that talk about their emotions. Many men generally, they like to suck it all in and bulk it all in, but one day it's going to explode, it's going to get too much. So therefore you need to sit down and talk to your wife. If she's doing something that displeases you, then you need to sit down and talk about it. Talk through it. In a nice, polite way. And same thing, she needs to do the same. Something that he is doing is bothering you. For you to be someone that you want it to be resolved, you need to sit down and talk to him, as he is your husband. And also, a man should be approachable, because some men are not approachable, sadly. You need to be someone that's approachable. Your wife needs to find that comfort in you that she's able to talk to you about stuff. If maybe you've done something to displease, or maybe you're not giving her time, think about it. Did she try to get through to me? Did she try to kind of make a signal, communicate with me? I didn't give her time. I need to fix that. I need to go back. Go back and fix it. Sit down with her. Ask her, was there something that I missed? Habibati, Zawjati, is there something that I missed? Say kind words towards her. And she should do the same as well to you. That way, the relationship will be successful. It will literally be successful. And that is the only way. In terms of getting through things, it's not by just telepathy, as it is sad, but it's the truth that men believe that if something is there, and this is how a man thinks, something is there, I've left my thobe purposely, or I've left my suit that I'm going to wear to work, I've left my clothes, I've left it there, and night time I need to go to sleep, she's doing something, she's on a call or whatever, I need to go to work tomorrow, and I literally am not good when it comes to tidying up my stuff, so I'm going to leave it right there, I'm going to go to bed, I'm going to find it nice, crisp, ironed. Actually, now he goes to sleep, he wakes up in the morning, it's left exactly how he left it. Now what does he do in this situation? He gets angry. He bulks it in. Some men will get angry and just fire out. Some men will just get angry and bulk it in. He goes, he irons it himself. She's completely oblivious that he asks her kindly to iron it. Well, let's just say, give another scenario. He actually didn't ask her to iron it. Okay, we're going to give two scenarios. And how a man should deal with it and how a woman should deal with it. Now, he didn't ask her at all. He just left it there. So, obviously, by this, he believes that she's telepathic and she's able to read his mind. Which, of course, is not the case, ikhwani. A woman cannot read your mind. Okay? Women talk about things. They like to put things on the table. This, and this is bothering me. Can you do this? That's how women deal with things, generally speaking. Men, we like to, give signs. So now we've gone to bed. You woken up. He's now ironing his thing by himself. He's angry. He's fuming inside. She's come. She said salams or whatever. He doesn't want to know. He doesn't even want to look at her. She's made breakfast for him. He's left. Didn't eat anything. He's gone the whole day. He's just angry. He's come back. He's done the same thing. Now she's confused. Now you have to put yourself in her shoes. Okay? And no one is perfect in this. All of us are guilty, except some men, mashallah, tabarakallah, they know how to talk about things, they know how to put things on the table, and they know how to deal with the situation. Marriage is a school, ikhwan. No one can ever say, I've mastered it and I'm a perfect husband, or vice versa, I'm a perfect wife. Okay, now you've gone to work and you have to put yourself in her shoes. Had you told her, don't you think she would have done it? Huh? That's the question. Don't you think she would have done it? She would have done it. Okay? Now, how do you deal with the situation? You leaving and sulking, okay? It's literally like sulking, a man, big man sulking. Angry, okay, is not the way forward. Because now it's going to create friction in the household. It's going to be friction. The shaitan is going to come in and fuel the fire. And you have to remember, the most beloved thing to shaitan, Iblis, to his workers, is one of them come back and saying, فَرَّقْتُ بَيْنَهُمَا. I've literally made both of them take ways and divorce. That's something the most beloved things to shaitan. Okay? Now, of course, without a doubt, if you talk to her about it, come back home or just before in the morning say, look, I asked you to do this, why didn't you do it? She would generally, if she's someone that fears Allah and has that haya, and this is where shyness and humbleness comes in, she would apologize. Say, honestly, I completely didn't know. Okay? Or maybe she would even say, I'll do it for you now and there and then. But for you to soak about it, to get angry, then you're giving chance for shaitan to enter that relationship, that household. Right now, shaitan is entering. He's working. He's going to give you... Now he's going to start working your mind. Remember that time she didn't do it as well. Last week you told her to do that as well. Even last week she burnt something that she was ironing from you. Even last week you asked her to do something she didn't sort it out. She made you late. This, that. Builds up. 2-3 days you're not talking to her because of one small thing she didn't do. And of course, like I said, ikhwani, there's something that we have to be better at doing. Communication. Now that can be a means, and you've heard, and the ulama have mentioned many of them, that a man divorces his wife and gives her the 3, or some narrations the 2, whichever one your opinion you're on, that I've divorced you. And then the alim will ask him, maybe a time after, why did you divorce? Wallahi ma adri, wallahi naseet. Like in طلعت الدم, and honestly, scholar, I forgot, and honestly, wallah, she just too much. I couldn't take it. And then he thinks about it, it was because of the fact of so and so. A pitiful thing, something that has no means. Something tafih, something literally just so small. If it had been resolved properly, then it wouldn't reach that stage. Okay? Another scenario is you've asked her to do something for you. She didn't do it. You woke up in the morning, she didn't do it. You get angry, you do the same thing. Now, you have to bear in mind and realize, she may have forgot. She may have forgotten. Maybe she did something else that you asked her without you even realizing you asked her to do 1,000,001 things. And she did all the other things, she didn't do 1 or 2 things. It doesn't give you the right to get so angry. And this is something that ruins the relationship, anger. Because why? Shaitan is working. And then by that, it's going to make you do something that you shouldn't have done. You're going to utter a word, you're going to regret 20 years later. So we have to bear in mind, we have to understand that we have to be wise about things, the way we deal with things. Okay? And as a wife as well, if you have forgotten, it's very, very easy. All you need to do is just apologize for something that you've done wrong, if you have done something wrong. Okay? And if, let's say for example, argument's sake, he asked you to do something and it was too much, then very simply, and it won't be too, if a husband is understanding, he will understand. You can ask him that you will do this and this and this at this time and this and this and that at another time. But you have to understand also, ikhwani, how many things does she do for you in the household? How many things does she set for you, does she organize for you and whatnot? And this is how, if a woman is devout worshipper to Allah Azza wa Jalla, she fears Allah, then she would be doing so many things. So you have to also take it easy on her. She's not a housewife. She's not a maid. She is your wife. Okay? And this is where we have naqsin. Many brothers, they treat their wives as if they're a piece of trash. This shouldn't be the case. This should not be the case. And of course, without a doubt, we need to know, and sisters need to remember, that كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إنه جنتك ونارك يعني الزوج. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned in his hadith, he said that verily, that the husband to you is like your hell, your paradise or your hell. Meaning, if you disobey him, which means you get him angry, then you're disobeying Allah Azza wa Jalla. In that which He's commanded you, that which He's asked you to do and what have you, in lawfulness, then it is as if you have disobeyed Allah Azza wa Jalla. And it could be a means of you entering Jahannam. And of course, another thing is if you obey Him and you do that which He asks in lawfulness, then it will be a means of you entering paradise. And we have to remember the hadith, that the most inhabitants of Jahannam are whom? The women. Why? Because of their tongue. Okay? Because of their tongue and them not guiding their private parts. And of course, without a doubt, we have to know, because of their tongue, that's the main thing. Now, the hadith in Bukhari mentions, يَكْفُرْنَ الْعَشِيرِ كَمَا قَالَ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم. And when the companions heard this, يَكْفُرْنَ الْعَشِيرِ, they say, يَكْفُرْنَ بِاللَّهِ. They asked the Prophet ﷺ, meaning they disbelieve in Allah. He said, no. He says, الْعَشِيرُ هُوَ الزَّوْجِ. Meaning they are not content with their husband. That's what the hadith means. If you do something for them, and then one time you do something which maybe they dislike, they would say that verily he has not done anything good for me the whole time since I've been with him. This is what it means, يَكْفُرْنَ الْعَشِيرِ. And for this reason, of course, it will be from the means that will make them be punished for it, not being content and not being just with their husbands. And of course, the majority of the women that are not righteous do not guard their tongues, and they say such things to their husbands, which goes against, of course, the teaching of Islam. كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لو كنت آمرا لأحد أن يسجد لأمرت الزوج أن يسجد لزوجها. Meaning, if I was, كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, if I was going to, and this is when, of course, some of the companions were going to try to prostrate, and he commanded them not to do so. And he said, if I was going to order anyone to prostrate, then I would order their wife to prostrate to her husband. Meaning, just in terms of, he used the hadith as in terms of what? How much she should take him of high importance and obey him. And of course, lawfulness. And there's so many hadith that we mention that mention how a wife should be with her husband, but inshallah we don't want to prolong. From the things that I think that are very important is that she tries her utmost best to please him in all sorts of means that make him happy. Of course, that which is not oppression. And she obeys him in goodness. She obeys him in goodness. She advises him in goodness, even if it is the truth, meaning even if it is against him. She advises him in goodness, always wanting good for him, helps him get close to Allah Azza wa Jal, fears Allah. She should also fear Allah Azza wa Jal. And if he obeys, or if he asks her to do something which goes against the commandments of Allah, then she should not obey him. Because of course we know لا طاعة في المخلوق في معصية الخالق. لا طاعة المخلوق في معصية الخالق. It doesn't matter who it is, we should not obey. There is no submitting and obeying, okay, the creation in that which is disobeying Allah the Almighty, the Creator. She should also be dutiful to her parents and to his parents. And of course we know, and this is something that many people don't know, okay, this is without a doubt, okay, consensus of the ulama, that the scholars that they know, and they all mention, they say that the right that parents have, okay, over their children, that they should obey them. Okay, the person that you should obey the most is your parents. Now, when a woman gets married, she should obey her husband more than her parents. Meaning now, the mulk, and Shaykh Sulaiman Ruhaili gives a very beautiful detailed explanation, explaining that as soon as she gets married now, that guardianship now is taken. And it's now, meaning the person that should be the most important to her is her husband. Okay, of course in lawfulness, in khair, in birr wa taqwa. Okay, so she should be obedient towards him. So even if, for example, he wishes to do something, but her parents wishes her to do something else, and who comes first, ikhwani? Her husband. And of course, once again, it doesn't mean that he uses this man to destroy the families of the kinship and what have you. The man, of course, should not do such a thing. But just showing you how important that she should see her husband. That even if, for example, a simple example, her family members have asked her to come over the weekend. Okay, just giving you an example. I've asked her to come over the weekend and travel with them. Okay, they want to go meet the family, but he has plans to do something with his wife. Then of course he comes first. Okay, he comes first. And as for the husband, of course, the parents come first in terms of if his mother asks him to do something with his parents and his wife. But of course, alhamdulillah, we should use hikmah, we should be from the uqala, we should be from those that are wise, and we know how to deal with the situations. Also, she should be from those that are able to raise and look after the kids and raise them upon piety and upon goodness. And also, without a doubt, a wife should be from those that she does not gossip about her relationship towards her friends. Because of course this is not from the characteristics of a righteous wife. And many sisters indulge in this, and they inform one another of the shortcomings or this and that. And of course this brings about nothing but evil. Discussing the household affairs, لِلْبُيُوتِ أَسْرَارٍ. Okay, each and every household have secrets, and it should be certain things that are mentioned in the household should not leave the household. Specifically from the wife. And also, it's very, very important, many couples, they do this, or many sisters, even brothers as well, husband and wife. You should never compare your relationship to others. Okay? You should never compare your relationship to other relationships, because you have a relationship with your wife, she has a relationship with her husband, that's it. It doesn't go beyond that. You shouldn't compare. And of course, without a doubt, she shouldn't be from those that have jealousy and want to do that which other people are doing. She should be content with that which you have given her. And of course, without a doubt, this reminder that the husband should also spoil his wife and spend on her. And another thing as well that many people believe, or they think that she should have so much knowledge in this, is that, ikhwani, if you find, and everyone to themselves, meaning everyone can make a decision, but if a woman has a little bit amount of knowledge, not much, but she fears Allah Azza wa Jal, she has shyness, she has love for the deen, and she has good characteristics, and another sister, for example, has, and this goes both for brother and sister, and the sister has memorized the Quran, a hadith, memorized so many hadith, but her characteristics stink, and she has no shyness. Which one is going to be more beneficial for you if you want to get close to Allah Azza wa Jal? So, do you want someone to have arguments all the time with? Because, and also, let's say they have arrogance as well. So you have to bear in mind that a righteous and a sister, she should know that because of the fact that you have something, or you have something that maybe your husband may not have over you, then you should still have good characteristics and good morals. Now, of course, something that is very important, and this goes for the sisters, and this is a reminder for the brothers specifically, because a lot of brothers, they fall into this, and cultures maybe can get involved or interfere. The issue of mahar. The issue of mahar. Many brothers believe, or many people believe, cultures, that mahar is something that the husband puts forward and says, we're going to give you this and this and this. No. Mahar from the deen of Islam is not something that should be debated, discussed. Even her parents should not get involved. It is something, the haqq, as Allah states in the Quran in many ayat, of the wife to be, of that sister, of that wife, of that woman. It's her right. Okay, the mahar, meaning that dowry money, that you, whether it's money, whether it's whatever it may be. Of course, one of the conditions of marriage is, of course, that the wali to be present, the two witnesses, okay, and that which is going to be given, okay, you can call it a present or dowry money, whatever you want to call it, dowry or whatever, it should be something that she decides, that she wants this. For example, she wants X, Y, and amount Z of money. or she wants to be taken here, or she wants this specific item, or she wants this specific thing. And this affair is something that many people are heedless to. Many people are heedless of this specific affair. But we should know that if you have a daughter, you have a sister, or someone, teach them that if they are at the age or they're ready to get married, then they need to know, they need to make a decision before they have that specific gathering of when the nikah is going to be, when the nikah is going to happen, that she should choose herself. And it's not a discussion of the people. So you have to understand this. Certain things, people fall into so many things because of ignorance. Even if your culture states that you as a man, you're going to get married, you have to go and select this and what, for example, gold or silver or jewelry or money, and you give it to the family, you give it to her as the mahar. That's what you do in your culture. Leave your culture aside. You can do that as extra. But her mahar is her haqq. No one decides what the mahar is except for her. Even the father, the imam, whoever's doing the khutbah, anyone. The mahar is her haqq, is her right. Okay? And even in terms of mahar, in terms of like, once again, we don't want to get into it, but of course, one should be wise as a woman and do something that's reasonable, because at the end of the day, that's going to be your husband. You don't want to make him bankrupt before you actually get married to him. But even if she decides to do something which is, beyond your imagination, your imagination, it's not up for discussion. Mahar is mahar. Okay, you shouldn't say, okay, can we discuss this? It's her right. It's something great in Islam that many people take lightly. It's her right. It shouldn't be discussed. If you can't, if that's something you can't do, no problem. You can come to an agreement that you will do it in intervals or, through a period amount of time, X, Y, and Z. But in terms of discussing it and what have you, that's her right. That is her right. That's something that I wanted to touch on. And also, without a doubt, this is the message for the fathers, that they should also try their utmost best to teach their young teenage children what marriage is about, because it's important for them to understand before they get into it. So when it comes time to actually doing it, they're not lost. Okay? And they don't end up causing more harm than good, even though they may have an intention of good. And same thing for their sisters. Same thing for the sister, that the mothers should teach them how to be as a wife, how to treat, and how to be in a household. And same thing for the man as well. And the last point that we'll finish on, or last couple of points, is that many people get trowed with the big day, which is the wedding. Now, ikhwan, you can know how a sister is righteous by just the meeting. Okay, the meeting meaning when you go to actually inquire about her and find out about her with the presence of her wali. I mean, we discussed this last week, so we won't go into it. From the questions that you can ask her is, how do you expect your wedding to be? Of course, if she informs you and gives you the signals and signs that she wants free mixing, she wants music, she wants this and this, then of course this is not someone that you should really and truly be getting involved in, because you don't know what's going to come next afterwards. So a righteous wife is one that does not give in to all of these things, because many of them is maybe because of the fact that they saw that this is how this person got married or that person got married. But alhamdulillah, the deen of Islam, we have boundaries, we have morals. So this shouldn't be the case. And of course, without a doubt, there are many questions, we're not going to get into them, but there are many questions that you should ask, oh sister, to your future husband that you want to be. Okay? So that you get to know if this man is someone that, of course, without a doubt, this should be done beforehand. Someone from your family members or you should be doing the research to know. But let's say you're there, you should also ask, where do you see yourself in years from now? Why do you want to get married? You should know his intention. Why does he want to get married? What's the reason? Okay, what do you intend to do? Where do you intend to stay? Certain things should be asked. This is not the topic or the thing for this specific thing, but we just wanted to say that you should know what to do, you should prepare yourself. And same thing for the brother as well. And you know how the man conducts himself by just seeing, or your father should know, your wali should know as well, to advise you. And same thing for the brother, when you sit in a meeting, you will be able to understand and know, and just tell by the way she moves and the way she is and carries herself, if she has shyness, if she has good characteristics, the way she speaks as well. And this, of course, is very, 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 very important. Because most people are not actually ready for marriage, even though they may intend to get married. It's not just mere intimacy, okay, and love, and here kisses and hugs and what have you. It's not just that, there's more to it than that. That's why you have to understand, mentally, physically, are you ready for this specific big step in your life? It's a beautiful thing, it completes half your religion, but it's an act of worship, ikhwani. Okay, it is an act of worship. So therefore you need to understand everything that it entails. And of course, without a doubt, we know that it is something that no one can say that they've understood it completely or what have you, or they've reached that stage of righteousness, both the sister and the brother, but we should try our utmost best to become better. And if we better ourselves, then inshallah, hopefully the community will be better and the ummah will grow and spread in khair. وهذا نكتفي. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. And of course, from this specifically, ikhwani, marriage comes things afterwards. How to deal with being a father, how to deal with being a mother, and all of these are very important. But like I said once again, it's upon you. If you want to do something in your life, then you need to go and research beforehand. العلم قبل القول والعمل, even in terms of these affairs. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خيرا.